why do graphics matter, right? What's the whole thought process behind why you would put something on screen? It's actually funny. I watch a lot of behind the scenes videos or why was it made? And the NFL a couple years ago um, did, I think it was for NFL 100. They did this video. It was like 2 hours long about all of the technology in the NFL, and they went back and they told the history of like this is when they first put the score on the screen. They're talking through all this is how they did replay, this is how they got the first and 10 marker right on. And it's like those things didn't happen when the game first started. um, but as technology got better, these professional broadcast crews started incorporating that. And so the number one reason that they did was it helped the understanding of the game, right? And so having the good visuals helped viewers at home understand, like, hey, this is what the score is. Because when you're at the arena, when you're sitting in the stadium, you can see there's scoreboards. Those have been a thing for a long time. There's scoreboards to see, but when you're just showing it with a camera, the camera doesn't always show the score, or it doesn't always, you might be just tuning in this game, and before there was the internet where you could look up all the information about where's this game being played. It was very helpful to have a graphic that said, oh, by the way, this game, this NFL game is being played in Denver, Colorado, right at Mile High Stadium. That's what it's called. And so adding that information to people who are completely new to the sport, or that are casual viewers that just need more information. And we've gotten to the point now where ESPN tried out the alternative stats broadcast, where they use the power of artificial intelligence along with next gen stats that they have, and they like predicted who was going to get the pass or whether it was going to be a run. I watched it. For me, it was too much information, but for the probably the nerds of the sport, was fantastic, right? And so that's all about understanding and engagement, right? Getting the viewers to stay engaged with it. You're not just watching the action on the field, you're getting all of these things that help support it. And in this day and age where everything is, if you're going 5 seconds without a cut, there's something wrong. When it comes to not only live broadcast but also recorded media, um, having those things for engagement really helps. um, and then the credibility of it, right? Keeping something clean, consistent. It kind of helps with your branding too, right? So that's one of the things that at the end of this we'll take a look at Jordan's graphics package that he's created at Nixa. And I think one of the things that you'll see is there's a very clear line through it of like, hey, if I'm watching this, that looks like Nix's graphics pack. It helps with the identity of the broadcast. And then I think the storytelling part, right? Especially if you have announcers that are really good about going out and finding the stories and getting the stats and stuff back to your crew. Um, the storytelling aspect of graphics can really help as well. So,
I'm going to also add to
Jordan,
that.
yeah, go for it.
If you have announcers that aren't very good at storytelling, having some people on your crew go find stories and put graphics up for them kind of forces them to talk about a little bit and get some information and engagement from the announcer side. So I've had both of those types of. I've had the announcers that they have more information than they ever know what to do with, and I've had announcers that they show up, hope someone did some prep for them, and call a game. So I think it kind of works both ways. As long as you have someone on the crew that's willing to kind of dive in, get those stories. If they put it up on the screen, like they're at least gonna have to read it and maybe hopefully talk about it as the announcer. So that's definitely kind of one thing. And then up there at the top, a great teacher doesn't just talk. So they don't just like an announcer. We're not just calling a game. We add graphics, we add various engagement activities through our classes. So it turns what's happening into something that viewers can actually like feel and be engaged with. But since we've added our scoreboard and added especially the clock with it, that has let us have longer engagement times with our audience. It's not just a pop on, they see the score pop off. They feel like they're a little more involved, especially if it's getting closer to the end of a quarter or end of halftime or even the end of the game. Like they're going to be more apt to stay logged in, stay watching because they feel it a little more. Like they feel that intensity. Like there's 2 minutes left. We're having that game winning drive, or it's a 3 point basketball game and we've got possession of the ball, the shot clock's running down. Like all of those things help build that engagement and understanding for the fans at home. So that's the real reason. Like we can put, I mean, Huddle with the Huddle cameras, they do the exact opposite of this. Really, they might put the scoreboard in the bottom corner, but they don't bring really any engagement. It's just here's the game, here's what's going on in the game, and so that's where the graphics package I feel like really puts you up to that next level. It brings that credibility, like we talked about. It says, "Hey, we're here to give you guys the best fan viewing experience we can," and so that's where the graphics really come into play, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's just like, the when you listen to the radio, right? Because that obviously predated any of the broadcasting. Why do those announcers always give you an update of the score and who's in possession, or how much time is left? They do that, like, it feels like every 2 minutes. They keep it pretty frequent. Now for them, it's because they don't have a visual for anyone to look at. And that's the power of video, is that we can put something like a score bug on the screen that at least gives the critical data, right? You need to know the score, how much time's left, and in basketball, it's fouls and timeouts, and in football, it's just timeouts and who actually has possession of the ball, right? And those things are huge. And Jordan, you brought up a good point. Like when it gets, if I tune into a game, like, and if I'm just tuning in and all of a sudden I look and I see the scoreboard, like I've been watching some of the NBA playoffs. And it's like I'm tuning in way late because by the time I wrap up what I'm working on in my personal life, I'm like, oh, there's basketball on tonight. Let's tune in. It's like, hey, it's the fourth quarter. There's 5 minutes left, and it's a 10-point game. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stick around and watch this. I know I'm not committing just 5 minutes because there's breaks and all the stuff like that, and the clock stops. But like, I at least know, like, hey, I'm not committing the next hour to watching this, but I can at least see this game through to the end. Um, in NASCAR, I love watching racing, but the middle part, most of the middle part, is so boring because it's just cars going around in a circle. So usually I tune in for the first 15, 20 laps, and then I tune in for the last 20 laps, and I catch all the important stuff because all that matters is how you start and then how you finish. So um, that's why some of those things are really important.